Today, we're going to talk about how artificial intelligence is completely changing the game for B2B marketing. It's doing this by taking a strategy you probably know, account-based marketing, or ABM, and just supercharging it, turning it from a complex art form into a predictable, powerful science. But first, let's just start with a question that I'm sure is on every marketer's mind. Why has B2B marketing gotten so darn difficult? It seriously feels like you're trying to be heard in a room where absolutely everyone is shouting. The digital noise is deafening, and those buying cycles, they just keep getting longer and way more complicated. So what's really at the heart of this challenge? Well, it's this number, 6 to 10. That's how many stakeholders, on average, are now involved in a single B2B purchase. You're not selling to one person. You have to convince a whole committee, each with their own opinions and priorities. Just getting in front of them is tough enough, let alone getting them all to say yes. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by really digging into this modern B2B challenge and see exactly why the old ways are breaking down. Then we'll introduce the hero of our story, AI, and walk through its playbook. And finally, we'll look at the new ways you have to measure success to actually win. You know, account-based marketing was supposed to fix this. The idea was brilliant, right? Focus all your energy on the specific, high-value companies that matter the most. But the way we've been doing it, well, it's hitting a major wall. I mean, think about the traditional approach. It was so much manual work. You had teams hand-picking accounts based on really basic info, like their industry or size. They'd create these buyer personas that were basically set in stone, run a few custom campaigns, and then try to stitch together insights from a dozen different disconnected systems. It was exhausting. And all that manual effort leads directly to these huge problems. The biggest one? It just doesn't scale. There's no way you can give that personalized, high-touch experience to hundreds of accounts without an absolutely massive team and budget. Plus, it's totally reactive. You're usually finding out about a company's interest when they're already halfway through their buying process. Your targeting ends up being based more on guesswork than on actual, real-time data. So, the bottom line is pretty simple. This old way of doing things, while it had good intentions, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Not if you want to compete and win in today's market, let alone tomorrow's. The game has totally changed. So, if the old way is broken, what's the fix? Well, this is where AI steps in. Artificial intelligence is the force multiplier that takes that amazing idea of ABM and finally makes it work at the speed and scale that modern business demands. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. Everything that was manual is now automated. Instead of being reactive, you become predictive. Where you had static, unchanging campaigns, you now have dynamic ones that adapt. And all that fragmented data, it gets pulled into one unified, intelligent system. It's a fundamental upgrade on every single level. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Let's get into the playbook. This isn't magic. It's a concrete, step-by-step process that completely transforms how a marketing team operates. Now, this isn't just a straight line. It's a constantly running, self-learning loop. It all starts with AI identifying accounts that are right now showing signs they're in the market for a solution. Then it automatically maps out the entire buying committee, creates personalized content for each of those people, and coordinates outreach across all your channels. It then feeds those hot insights straight to your sales team, and, this is crucial, it measures what worked and uses that data to get even smarter for the next go-around. If you only remember 3 things from this, make it these 3 superpowers. First, predictive selection. This means you're focusing on accounts that data says are actually ready to buy, not just ones that fit a vague profile. Second, real-time intent signals. This is like having a radar that pings the second a target account starts researching solutions like yours. And third, hyper-personalization at scale. You can finally give that perfectly tailored message to every single decision maker automatically. It's a total game changer. And this quote from Amol Gemu just hits the nail on the head. The true power of AI in ABM is not just efficiency, it is foresight. This is so important. The real win here isn't just about doing things faster or cheaper. It's about being able to see which accounts are about to enter a buying cycle before anyone else does. It's about anticipating what your customers need before they even ask. Okay, so when you get a brand new engine, you can't use the old dashboard, right? The old metrics we all used to obsess over, clicks, impressions, number of leads, they just don't tell the full story anymore. We need a smarter way to measure what actually matters to the business. This means we've got to focus on metrics that are tied directly to revenue. We're talking about things like an account's overall engagement score. We care about pipeline velocity. How fast are we actually turning these accounts into customers? We're looking at buying committee penetration. Are we reaching the right people? And most importantly, we can finally measure the real revenue our marketing campaigns are influencing. So really, what this all boils down to is this. AI takes account-based marketing from being this special, resource-intensive project that a few people work on and turns it into a repeatable, measurable, and scalable growth engine that sits at the absolute core of your business. And that leaves us with one last, pretty critical question. Look, this isn't science fiction. This shift is happening right now. So as you think about your own strategies, your own teams, you really have to ask yourself, is your growth engine actually built for 2025?